talk some toys in here.
Hey, what's up everyone? Today is the Man Child. Okay, so today we're going to take a look at the new Masters Universe, Masterverse, Revolution, Skeletor, or Skeletek figure. So yeah, this is going to be, I guess, what Skeletor, or how he's going to appear in the Revolution cartoon, which will basically be like Revelation Series 3. It's going to premiere on, I think, January 25th, 2024, so yeah, next year, on Netflix. If you remember from the end of Season 2, I believe Triclops and Trapjaw restrained Skeletor. He took a staff, and then Motherboard infected Skeletor with that Skeletek technovirus. So I'm guessing that's what he's going to look like. Yeah, I'm a real sucker for, I want to say, characters that sort of have a cybernetic look, or infusion in them, going back to like Spawn, Cygor, the Overkill figure from also Spawn series, in the T-800 Terminator. Always love stuff like that. So when I seen this figure, come out as part of the Wave 11 series, looking like this, and he's going to, again, look like that in a Revolution show, I was pretty excited about it, and here he is in cards. Let's check him out. And real quick, before we take Skeletek out of the package, just want to go over the box art a little better. So for people who aren't familiar, they really changed the style of box over the, previous Masterverse figures. Art's incredible. I mean, some really unique art. So yeah, we have Skeletek here, obviously, with the ram staff end on his mechanical arm. So he has an arm now like Trapjaw looks like. We have some of them cult clan followers in robes here, like in the show. Now, it's, aside the art being really neat, they did cut the window down a lot. You can still see the figure okay, and it is collector friendly, the packaging, so you can take the tape, flip the, top of the box open, take him out of card, do what you got to do with them, review them, mess around, put them back, shut the cover, and mint on card. What I noticed with these windows, though, this type of plastic, it really scratch easy compared to the other Masterverse window packaging, just from my experience with all four figures that I've got part of the Wave 11 series. But for people who aren't familiar, just had to change the box around up top here too. Now we got a new Masterverse logo is different, of course. So here's a quick look at the left-hand side, looking in from the window. We just have Triclops here, which was, of course, a cult member later in that show, and Screech, which turned into Motherboard later on. So spinning the package around, taking a quick look at the art and illustration back of the box. So we just have Skeletek as an image of the actual figure in box. Pretty neat. He has his ram staff now, looks like on a mechanical arm. We have Snake Mountain in the background here with the lava coming out of the snake head. Off to the right here, so it just shows the accessories. Yeah, once again, that new ram staff. And it looks like he has a crown, too, that he comes with. But I'm not sure. It doesn't look like King Randor's crown, or it's going to be his own crown as Skeletek now. It doesn't really say, but yeah, these are just the only images and accessories for this figure. And here's a close-up of the new bio. You want to pause and read that. And here's a look with all four figures, part of the Wave 11 series. And now here's a quick look at the right-hand side of the box, looking in from that window. It just, Skeletek standing in a close-up of the face with his cybernetic, Terminator-like eye in there and his skull under the hood. And here's Skeletek out of package. All right, take a quick look. Really interesting version of Skeletor. I'll say that. And bringing in Skeletek, or we'll just call him Skeletor, and for a closer look, pretty cool head sculpt going there and hood. So yeah, you can see like it's got something reminds me of the Terminator face, that cybernetic eye. Has Skeletor's main face and just this whole skull bone structure. Looks like I want to say this face piece is just it's as far as sculpting, it's different from the hood, but yet it's like almost a separate sculpted piece and kind of plugged into the hood from what I can see. Now, get a closer look at it with the light. Yeah, really cool details, and like see all the cybernetics and stuff going on. But this hood is really like, it doesn't even move. It's not hard. Like, look how hard that plastic is. So we get a little more light, so you just get a better detail. But aside that, it is pretty cool what they give you there. It's like he's missing. So the hood wraps around the eye, or it's not even sculpted in there. So he really only has one eye on this side that I can see. As far as the articulation, right? So we can go left. So we spin left to right, go down about that far and back, and let's pop it off. So okay, so that's a regular Masterverse ball peg. Take a look at that. So leaving the head off for a minute, let's take a closer look at this collar piece, the armored. Really cool. Just how it's all sculpted onto the body. It's its own color, so there's nothing plugged in. Same thing with the collar; it's all part of the sculpt. See some of that free-flowing, cybernetic energy going through the circuitry of the armored green painted stuff. Flip around the back for a second. Yeah, it's all the same thing. Even this reinforced shoulder piece, similar to that kind of trapjaw, has something like that to support the arm. It's all part of sculpt. Same thing with this neck piece up at the shoulder. And then you just got this other piece, part of the collar, again, all part of sculpt. Now, it's interesting that the buck, or what we can see of it anyway, it's a whole new design. As far as the pecs in there and everything. Now, obviously, we can't see the abs. They're cut short because of this independent piece that comes across for the articulation, just this new look. So let's go back. Let's look at the back for a second. Even the muscle aesthetics back in here, what we can see, look a little different. And to compare that, I'm just going to compare something real quick. I'm going to bring in Horde Skeletor. Now, he has a typical new Eternia, I guess Masterverse style, Buck will call it. But look how different that is. This is very small, and this is a lot larger. So I'm wondering if some of the newer Eternia figures are going to get a buck similar to this, where it's a lot larger, like the new He-Man coming out. Because that would be pretty cool. That would be a lot better than the smaller buck they gave these figures. And even the arms. I'll take a look at the arms for a minute. I mean, now, of course, this is going to be a little different because of cybernetics, but yeah, I mean, it's almost like the shoulder's very identical, but the bicep area and tricep and all that good stuff is larger, and it's a little bit larger than the Masterverse new Eternia design, Skeletor. So before we move on, I just wanted to bring in the 40th anniversary Skeletor, right? So this is the buck with the 40th anniversary Skeletor and what the 40th anniversary He-Man had. Because looking at this new buck, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't this larger buck that these figures had. Which I'm really surprised they didn't do any more with these. And Skeletor never came out in a single card release, which there was teases on it, and I don't know whatever happened to it. So this was part of that San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack. But yeah, this is a lot larger chest. Well, the abs are different. Obviously, he has these mechanical kind of thing going. But I just wanted to bring it in to confirm that, yeah, this is its own buck, and I have a feeling it's going to be coming to the Masterverse down the road and newer figures. So snapping the head back onto the body. Yeah, so here's another side profile to the hood I want to mention. It does have that point in the back there. You can see just how it's all sculpted around the back and all the details around the hood on both sides. So moving on, taking a look at this massive right cybernetic arm. Most important part, or the most noticeable part of this Skeletor figure. Yeah, look at that thing. It's like I don't want to call it a trapjaw arm. I mean, yeah, trapjaw has its own mechanical arm, but this is like I want to say some type of like nanotechnological set of tentacles that's kind of mutated, enhanced as an arm. So you can see that there's like 3 sets of gigantic tentacles that wrap around, make this arm that Skeletor has. Now, going back up for a second. So yeah, he has this big shoulder piece there with some spines. This red, and this painted red. This is like a purple, metallic purple color. It's a little different in the hood. The hood's like a dark purple. But as far as the articulation with this arm and the shoulder, so let's see, we can go forward, you go all the way back, and you can go, okay, so the shoulder piece it's a separate piece, but the arm can go out only about that far, and of course down to the body. I don't know if, let me see, can this come off? Yeah, so this is on a plug, it looks like, but mine's glued on, so you can snap the shoulder piece on. I'm going to leave it for now, but it is possible to come off. Now, this arm doesn't come out of the body. It's not like something's going to snap off, not like any of the Masterverse figures ever did, how the origin arms comes off. That would have been cool. I mean, without modifications. But going back to all cybernetic, nano tentacles and stuff, these are all rubber. The 3 pieces, I mean, they're all sculpted together. They're not individual. So you kind of like bend them back and forth, and even bend the arm a little bit. It almost feels like it has a bendy wire near something, but you can only bend it so much, or straighten it back out, or bend it to the left, to the right. So yeah, I'd say there's some type of bendy, if not a couple different, or maybe 3 independent bendy wires in this arm. Bend it like that, but pretty neat. Like, yeah, really unique looking. So yeah, I got the big bulge on under here. Check out all the details. Same thing, all that like energy, free flowing energy, and the circuits going from that arm back down to the. So his weapon, the ram head or the ram staff head, that too is really, wow, pretty neat. He also has his finned, so it's like a forearm guard or something like that, gauntlet. That too is it, I don't know if it's, how is that on there? Yeah, it's glued onto the arm. Looks like if you want to remove it somehow, you could. I don't know what's under there, a big plug or something. but it's definitely glued. It's yeah, like split. Doesn't go all the way around. Again, we don't know till a cartoon comes out what it's supposed to do. I don't know if this arm's supposed to. I'm assuming it's gonna be like gonna stretch and mutate, do all kinds of wacky stuff like that because it's enhanced. So I'm assuming it looks like, but of course in toy form, only just getting a short version of it and moving around. Going back to this ram staff head, his weapon now. So that is articulated. It does spin. I don't know if it can. Yeah, it can only spin. Can it go up and down? Not really. I guess you'd just bend the arm. You could bend at the neck. Doesn't look like it's really meant to come out. I'm assuming there's a plug in here. Something like one of the boots would be, or the legs. I mean, I'm not by pulling it. I mean, I have to heat it, but it doesn't look like it's meant to come out. But really cool details. Look at that. Yeah, the horns going in. You know, the horns bending out of that skull there. Pretty colors match that armored both sides. Same thing, all just cybernetically enhanced. Now, what's neat with this too is check that out. The jaw does open, and I guess that was where the energy, or who knows what's going to fire out of there, spit out of there. We'll figure out once we see the cartoon. But it is a really cool piece. It'd be neat if it was able to pop off and you could put some type of other accessories or something in there. I mean, again, when the cartoon comes out, we'll figure it out. But that's pretty cool. It's different. So moving back to left arm real quick, so he has somewhat of a normal arm. Now we know that from what I can see, this bicep design is a little different. So maybe they're going to use this in some of the newer figures. Aside this weird cut, I'm hoping that's not going to be part of it. I'm just assuming something to do with this technical version of Skeletor. But the shoulder joint looks very much the same. So as far as the articulation, go up, down, right, go forward, back, all the way. So we have the bicep swivel. Can bend at the elbow with double pins in here, double joint, all the way up at the face. As far as the forearm, so he has this unique sculpting forearm guard gauntlet, but it's not an individual piece. It's just all part of the sculpt, its own sculpt. Once it painted, you know, you can see that free-flowing energy kind of thing. And then he has a semi-gripping weapon hand, and that can spin, go in and out. Pretty soft, almost looks like some type of mechanical set of fingers. So let's pop the hand off for a second. So with the hand still off the arm, so of course this is our new Skeletek hand with that type of peg, and this is the Horde Skeletor typical Masterverse peg, or what the Origins use. So putting the hand back on, now moving down to the waist, so we already looked at the chest and all that good stuff, the arm. He has that ab cut there, and we can spin left to right, can bend all the way forward and about that far back. Can also spin at this lower cybernetic torso kind of piece there. Has this big green, pretty cool sculpting. It almost looks like some type of weight, like a power core cell or something in the waist. So I don't know, once again, a cartoon is going to shoot energy, or that's just where he's being powered from, one of those kind of things. All right, you can see, and then if you bend, you go all the way to the back. So bending forward too. We already looked at all sculpting and how the cuts work, goes back, forward, and all that good stuff. Now you have this, so moving down to this like loincloth, the skirt piece. Pretty unique, but the thing is, it could come off, but mine is, you can see it's glued all in here where the seam is, and it has looks like something could have been a buckle snapped together. And again, it looks like if you wanted to pull it apart, you could, but mine's all glued. So it's like this particular piece wasn't meant to come off. It's like kind of hiding everything. It is pretty flexible, so you can see the other overall design, the colors. Has the the red outer seam painted. It's basically the same exact color and style as the hood, right? Red outer piece here and type of material. So there's a front and a back. Comes down to like a kind of a crooked V to one side here. Now it's, so being I'm not gonna really take it off. I don't want to modify mine, but again, I see you can. It's let's see how flexible it is. So you kind of roll it back like this, right? I just want to say, all right. So it's just, there's the hip, the joints in there and stuff. See that, but as far, so now we can see what the legs look like is cybernetic robot Terminator legs. Okay. So I'll leave this pulled up for a minute. So with the articulation, so okay, so it has that thigh split thing with this up. Now check that out. So the leg has feels like a ratchet joint, and go all the way forward and all the way back. Can the other side do that? Or maybe that's just something. No, that can do it too. Go way forward and back. And it can also spin here as well. Working your way down, you can also spin at the this other rope, this, what would be the boot, lower part of the mechanical leg. And then he's got these mechanical toes here. Now they're pre-sculpted. It's do they move? No, they don't. Nope. It's just their own thing. Same thing with the back piece. But of course, you have articulation, lower ankle. I can go up and down all the way like that. And I don't want to say rock side to side. There is a little flexibility there. So once again, with the skirt or kilt kind of thing, I'm going to leave it rolled down as it's intended to be. Now with articulation, what's funny, you can only kick about that far forward on that side, and because it's more open here, all right, that leg can go all the way forward like that. As far as a split, as far as you're going back, unless you, again, roll this all the way back, you know, the skirt piece here, and then the legs will go all the way out like that. I think it's stuck, kind of weird. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole setup, and surprised this piece just can't come off if you want it to, and had its own, like, loincloth. It'd be a lot better for the articulation on these legs, but that's how they set it up. So with the arm sticking all the way out, and even with these legs, the way they're set up, yeah, this one's a little funky. The way it goes forward, just really loose. But they're both designed to do that. Even though we don't have, you know, all kinds of articulation of toes, but only the ankles, as I showed. Spin this around. He does stand pretty good, though, the way he poses everything, even with this, move the skirt piece out of the way. At least mine is. Let me see if I roll him. Yeah, it does. Okay, balance is okay, because that arm is pretty heavy. So as far as accessories, the only accessory really comes with is this crown piece. Doesn't say if it's where it comes from or why he's wearing it. Once again, going back to the shell, I guess we'll find out. And then it looks like we're just going to push it down over the hood. It's, yeah, it barely fits. Wow, you got to really stretch it. It feels like something you could break easy. You got to be careful. There it goes. And there's that crown piece over his hood. It's King Skeletek now, I guess. So moving on to some comparisons and part switching and swapping, you want to call it. There's not really a lot you're going to do with him. Side heads or something. It's kind of his own thing. I mean, yeah, the arm doesn't come off, the ram staff doesn't come off, beside the hand unplugs, but we have to find a similar hand in the new Eternia style with the peg. I'm not even going to bother. Now, as far as colors, sometimes I'll get this question in comments. So this new buck design and arm, right, upper body, it's very identical to this Horde Skeletor, which, of course, I have the cloak and the armor off, so you can see, take a better look. But very close to that again. But there's nothing you're going to switch off either figure without major customization to change parts out. I just want to point that out as far as the colors. So going back to some part swapping, I took this crown off. I don't like it, but let's pop the head off for a second. And then I'm going to put the Horde Skeletor head on. So here's a pretty cool look. We got that Horde Skeletor head on that body, and yeah, it works really good with that black hood. So if you didn't like this half a face kind of hood head thing going, you can use that. So going back to the Horde Skeletor armored piece, I was trying to put that on, see if you can fit it over this body, even with the arm, which, you know, would be cool. Or whether you use this to the first release Skeletor when it's purple, but you see the problem? So it's like, yeah, these straps are not long enough because of this new buck design and maybe some of the arm and shoulder. It's like really off. It's not even close. Try to snap these together without a lot of force, maybe heat and bending, but yeah, for the most part, it's not going to work. So now here's a look with the Horde Skeletor head and, of course, this cloak on this Skeletek body. That looks pretty cool. It would have been neat if the armor would have worked too, but whatever. And now I just threw the Skeletor head back on this body. Left the Horde, Skeletor cape on, and try to put the ram staff in hand. This hand is really loose, like you can barely hold it. If you grab it to the top here, this is how like pre-posed the fingers are. Let's just balance them or something. You can hold it, something like that. So moving back to Horde Skeletor, I put his armor and cape back on, ram staff in the hand because he holds it well. And I just want to throw that Skeletek head on this body with that setup. Check that out. Looks pretty cool. And of course, fits the ball peg. Something different. So here's a quick comparison with our new Skeletek Skeletor against the first release Revelation Skeletor. Now mine has a custom cape on, which is really cool. So the only thing I can really do is we know the armor ain't going to work from him to the new Skeletor because we tried it with the Horde Skeletor. But maybe we could just switch some heads around. We'll try this custom cape on him. So here's a quick look with the Skeletek Skeletor head on the Revelation Skeletor body. I got that custom cape, which is wired all spread out like it's flying. Take a look at that. Looks pretty cool. So once again, it's always fun to mix and match heads and stuff on different figures if that's what you want to do. Now I just took Skeletek and put that custom cape on him for something different. Do that Skeletor cape. Looks awesome. Of course, I have his original head back on. And now here's that Revelation Skeletor head with the custom cape, or whatever kind of cape you want to put on him on this Skeletek body. You want to check that out? Looks pretty cool. And again, it's just proving that these all fit the ball peg, and it's just different style heads if you didn't like the one to come with. So now here's a comparison against our Skeletek and our Masterverse New Adventures Skeletor figures. So let's see what kind of parts we can switch with those two. So I just threw that Skeletek head on the New Adventures body. Now, this Skeletor as well, I did do some custom painting and circuitry, came very bare. And once again, it's also a custom cape. It's actually like a Superman cape or something with wires in it. It was originally bright red. I actually dyed it purple, matched the armored, and that little skull came from like a McFarlane Spawn figure. So very reminiscent of a cartoon. It's what it's supposed to look like. And instead they gave you a sheer reused cape from the Masterverse Shearer, which was silly. And now here's a look with that New Adventures head on without the helmet, and let's do the custom cape on it once again. It's always something cool about a cape on a Skeletor. Now I just threw the helmet back on that New Adventures head on the Skeletek body. Took the cape off because most people ain't going to have that cape unless you want to go and buy a custom one. But I make that point because a lot of people do have this Skeletor figure head now, and once you get the Skeletor down the road, it works pretty cool because his head's, cybernetic as well. It matches, just match different, maybe not the paint, but yeah, it just works because it's cybernetic. Even when you pull his head back off, once again, you can see the circuitry in the back of the head, how it just sort of lines up with everything. So it's an interesting head to put on this body if you had it. So here's a quick comparison between my loose Master Universe Terraclaws Skeletor, the classics, and of course our Skeletek Skeletor. And I put the classics head on this body already, which looks pretty cool. You got to force it down the ball peg, but it does get stuck. However, it does work, so that looks pretty cool. Classics heads are always cool, and there's a bunch of different ones out. Going back to the classics figure, so I threw the head on there, but same thing. It actually, you know what? Actually works pretty cool. Usually they just bob up and down. You have to put like tape or something to hold them. And it is a little loose, but that's what that head would look like on a classics body. At least that Skeletor, the one I have loose. And now here's a quick look with an Origins Skeletor head on this Skeletek body. It's, you want to mix it up, and this is one of the, I don't remember which one this came off of, one of the more creepier faces, but it does work, it is fun. You want to mix things up. Once again, fits the ball peg, has a good articulation. And once again, for fun, I brought in a Motu Origins Dragon Blaster Skeletor, and I put that Skeletek head on that body, so you want to mix it up. And I thought it'd be fun just with all the armor on this particular Skeletor. And there's so many Skeletors out, do a whole review on that, but I want to use this head on any of those. Works, looks really cool. And for one more comparison, do a little mix and match in the parts with, we have our new Eternia Barbarian Skeletor, of course, against our Skeletek Skeletor. Yeah, he sits on my bone throne in the back there. A lot of people ask where that come from. That's came with the Super 7 Snake Mountain. So I think it's just fun. I like something with the Skeletor. Anyway, so we have a couple different heads. I have that one on and a typical Barbarian head we can try. And he does have some different armor that maybe we'll try on him as well and see if it fits. So going back to Barbarian Skeletor, the only thing that's really going to work, once again from Skeletek, is just the head. Have his ram staff in hand, a sword, and just armor on and all that. So it kind of looks cool. The purples can match everything else. So once again, going back to Barbarian Skeletor's armored parts. So he has a his shoulder and cross armor. It's very similar to the first release one, but I think these buckles are different. I don't know if the straps are longer. So going back to Skeletek, with the head off, I'm going to slip the armor over the neck like this, flip him around to where the other armor from Horde Skeletor had those pieces that popped on. These have straps of buckles. So once again, it's just, if these were a little longer, they would work perfect. Now, maybe I can stretch one side on. You can see that and get one through there like that. I probably get one side through, but I don't think I'm going to get the other one. Let me work on it, see if I can. So yeah, I couldn't even get them together. I mean, you can really put one side on if you want to and stretch it. Feels like this is going to snap one side or the other. This side you're definitely not getting on. It's just with this arm, you can just see how high it is over the shoulder. It's possible if you want to put some type of armor like this on him, you can make some type of like backward straps, like get another buckle, cut it, put this here, put a piece through here like that. Basically extend them somehow. But if you wanted to just let it sit there, it would look something like that. And it looks off, just because of the shoulder armor and this whole arm piece. And now going back to this flip over piece that also went on a Barbarian Skeletor with the cape. I mean, obviously, yeah, it fits, but it's just, it's real sloppy, It sort of relied on this armor to sit on top of it. I mean, you didn't need it, but it should sit. See, this cut here is kind of go up by the neck, and it would hang on the back, something like that. You got to move it around. I don't know. I don't think it looks good, but that's how it would fit more or less. So now going back to that helmeted Barbarian Skeletor head that he comes with in the box. So I put that on Skeletek. That looks really cool. Something different, articulates well. And I did throw this piece back on with the helmet, that this particular head on. Doesn't look bad. It's yeah, something once you put the head on, you just mess around with this. Yeah, see, it's a shoulder piece, but if okay, there you go. You get it down, it's going to hang low. You have that little cape and a whole piece in the head on. Works something like that. And now here's a look at that Barbarian alternative head, which I keep on my figure now on Skeletek's body. I like that head. It just goes, very, I don't know, vintage looking to me as far as Skeletor goes. But in the Masterverse style, I guess that was the point of it. And of course, I kept this piece on. All right, check that out. The cape, nice. And if you don't want that on, you just want to keep that head. All right, without a cape, he would look like that with the arm. And then also, here's that helmeted head without that cape or armor piece on. Now I want to put Skeletek's head back on. Try that Barbarian armored piece once again. Once you flip it over, down, for this piece. Move the arm out. Mess around with the cape. That looks pretty cool. So once again, I'm going to bring in the 40th anniversary Skeletor, right? Do a side-by-side comparison. Put the armor back on. So we already went over the buck designs because I was curious if this was that, and it doesn't look like it. It's totally different. Let's see what parts we can mix and match with these two figures. And as far as Skeletek's parts, the only thing I can really use is the head on this 40th anniversary Skeletor body with the armor on. Fits okay. So for people who might have this body Skeletor, hopefully one will be released in a single card. I don't see why they wouldn't. I think they got too much stuff going on with this Revolution cartoon coming out. Maybe it'll get back to this line or Skeletor at some point. But we'll take a look at that. It's pretty tight. Fits okay, and it's it's different. The hood doesn't exactly match the armor, but you can still do it. So moving on to Skeletek's body in the 40th anniversary Masterverse Skeletor with that huge armor. I can't believe that. Yeah, the straps will not fit around this body. So I'm putting the armor over the neck, obviously. The shoulder piece is really high, but you can kind of tuck these straps down a little bit. And if you flip it around, so for the most part, you can get one strap on, one of these straps on okay. So I'll just do this side, for example. I don't know if this side, maybe you can. It's really questionable. If this strap is a little bit longer, it might work. I don't know. Let me see. It's close. Oh, I think I got it. Okay. All right, so it does fit. But you got to squeeze this over the shoulder. Now I just put Skeletek's head back on that body with the 40th anniversary Skeletor armored. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. Have some type of armor on him now. Then I just drew that 40th anniversary Skeletor head on the Skeletek body with his armored. Yeah, I like this head. It's really cool. And the jaw also articulates in this head if you're not familiar, and just check out the sculpt design. Very vintage inspired. It looks pretty cool in this body as well with the armor or without it. And being we went that far, I also have a loose classic Skeletor with the typical armor, so it has different types of straps. So for people who might get this Skeletek Warrior and has a loose classics with that armored, let's see if the armor fits on this body. So here's a look at the classics armored. Once again, you can fit it over the neck, adjust these shoulder strap things, but it's a no-go. There's no way. It's way off. You can see that. Can't even get these pieces on those pegs there. And then one last thing I wanted to try was the regular Origin Skeletor armor, because most people are going to have these once you get this figure, right? There's an Origin Skeletor with the armor on. I mean, it looks really purple. It doesn't look as realistic as this body, but, for customizers, fun to try different things. But just to prove that point, yeah, that's not going to work either, without modification. You can't really modify it too much because the straps aren't long enough, and you're not going to get this. I don't know if you get this piece together in the back. You can, but yeah, for the most part, it's not going to work. Okay, so that was my overall review on the new Master Universe Revolution Skeletek figure. It's part of the Wave 11 series. He's currently up for pre-order now on Big Bad Toy Store, and they're due to ship, I want to say November, I believe, already. Really cool looking Skeletor, I'll give it that. I just like the overall design, a creepy little head. It's neat, you can always change the other heads out like I did, even like that. The arm's really wild looking. I wish I could do a little more with it. I wish this ram staff could pop out. It was more modular. Maybe to be able to attach like Roboto's parts or something like that. But it's kind of its own thing from what I can see. That skirt piece is unique looking. Would have been cool too if you can take it off easier. Which you can remove it, but you're going to cut it. You can always glue it back, but cut it and you'll have to have a loincloth of some sort to cover the area up you want to. I like this chest and buck design and the new, the design of these arms. I have a feeling he's going to come with maybe some future new Eternity or Revolution figures. It's definitely bigger than the current Masterverse figures like I showed, but it's smaller than the 40th anniversary Skeletor. So it's in between. I think it's a good design. I'm thinking that's what that's for. Might be just his own thing. Beside that, it's yeah, I like it. It's a really unique looking figure. So I appreciate everybody watching. Until next time, take care.